Hey y'all, it's me. I am back for story time with Steph. Want to give a disclaimer that I am not a doctor, lawyer, or anything fancy, so please just take this for what it is as my opinion and hope that my stories might be able to help somebody out there. The second thing is Jorey is finalizing the speaking calendar for 2020. He's got a corporate training that he does, and then there's also more of a community training that he and I do together. So if anybody is interested in any of those speaking engagements, please check the comments. There should be some links there to our backstory and a little more information on those. Anyway, on with stories with Steph. So last week I appreciated your response so much, and I actually got a bunch of questions, and please keep them coming. They were really helpful. But the first question that I wanted to address was how do I actually cope with having someone who has a mental illness, like has a spouse? How do I deal with that? And I don't know that I've really done a great job of coping with it. It hasn't always been pretty, and I've done a lot of things wrong. So more so I can probably tell you what I've done wrong and what I've learned from my mistakes. First of all is honesty. You have got to learn to be honest about your situation and honest about your own emotions and being very self-aware without being selfish. So what I mean by that is I had to go through a process where I had to learn and to accept the fact that, I had a husband who had PTSD and what that meant and what that meant for my future. And I had to actually be honest about that and what that really meant to me, to my family, and what I wanted to do about it. The other thing about being honest with yourself is you need to realize that you are inherently in a little bit more stressful situation. Everything is a little bit heightened. Every argument you have with your loved one who may have this mental illness is going to be elevated. It's going to be more risky, I guess I would say. Anytime you're in a high stress situation, financial problems, health problems, problems with family, any of those major stressors, they're going to affect you, and they're probably going to affect you a little more than the average person. I know there's really no normal, but you get what I'm saying. Anyway, so once you can accept that and be honest about that, that's really helpful. So then you can kind of forgive yourself when things get really stressful. The thing about being honest with yourself, though, by being self-aware, is this. So when I had a bunch of little kids, and Jorey was undiagnosed, untreated, and was kind of a zombie, it was super stressful. And I would probably get like ornery for days, and I would just kind of push it away, and I would pretend like everything's fine. And in my own head, I was literally telling myself, everything's fine, everything's good. I'm just stressed because I'm tired. I'm just tired. I just need to sleep. And then I'd sleep forever and it wouldn't help anything, or, just on and on and on. And there was always something, always a reason. But I really needed to just stop myself and realize I was ornery and really get down to the bottom of why, and then let that go. And that sounds really hard, and it really was at first, because I think we're trained to make excuses. Instead of saying, what, I'm really ornery because I feel like they don't love me right now because they don't show emotion. We don't really say that. Instead we say, oh, well, they're tired and I'm tired, and it's just, it's just hard. That's just how it is. But it's okay to say, what, that upsets me. And that's hard. It doesn't mean you don't love them or respect them or anything like that. So just being really honest about it, I think, is important. The next thing I would say is to let yourself grieve. Now, if you've ever lost someone that you loved, you've probably been through this process. It's a healthy thing to do. There's a whole bunch of steps, denial, bargaining, anger, eventually is acceptance. I think there's 5 and I'm missing one. I can't remember. Anyway, but going through that process is really important. And the more you do it, the faster you get at it. So what I'm saying is you need to accept where your life really is at. And then if there's a grieving process part of it, you need to grieve that. I really felt like it was a loss that my future was not going to hold a spot with a spouse who did not have a mental illness. That is not what I had planned on. That was not my expectation, and it has changed our entire life. And so I had to grieve that. I had to be sad for a little while, and then I was angry for a little while, and you bounce back with those feelings back and forth between those steps, and then eventually you do come to accept it, and then you can move on. So going through the grief process does not mean that you're going to wallow in self-misery and you're going to be depressed forever or what, just that sort of thing. It just means that you accept and you're real about where you are and you grieve it. And you will get better at it. It will get faster, and your body, I feel like, will start to do it on its own just automatically to get rid of that emotion and get through it. We always talk about people working through things. Well, you have to just face it, but the more you do it, the faster it happens. So the story I wanted to tell y'all today was a couple months ago, our sweet, very elderly dog that we've had forever got sick. And I had gotten early one morning, and I went downstairs, and she had vomited blood, like all over the floor. It was bad. Anyway, scared me to death. She's okay now, don't worry. But obviously I had a big mess on my hands, dog to take care of, all of that. So as soon as I went down the stairs, I could smell it. And I thought, oh no, like what has happened? Where's this animal? Is she okay? But then my second thought was, oh crap, what is Jorey gonna do? And then in the same thought, I also had, I really want him to help me. I don't want to clean this up by myself. Like, this is a mess. I've got a dog to take care of. I've got kids that are going to be waking up. Like, it's a whole thing. What am I going to do? So anyway, he did end up coming down the stairs, and I watched him. And I remember as I was wiping it up, like watching him just so scared. Because when you've got someone that has that kind of, that PTSD, I knew that the smell of blood was a memory that he had from one of his traumatic events. Like, I knew that was going to set him off. And so I just sat there and watched him, and he did really well. He actually came over and helped me clean it up. But afterwards, I'm kind of tiptoeing and just like, are you okay? How that affected you? Like, that honesty. Again, calling him out. That affected you. It seems to. And he said, yeah. He said, I feel like I've just sprinted a race. And he did. He was red in the face. He was sweating. It was like this adrenaline had just come, and it's just his anxiety just went through the roof. But the nice thing was, because I was honest about it with him and with myself, he got through it and I got through it. Now, to get to the grieving process, it was really interesting to me because after that happened, I'm actually back in school, and so we got the kids ready for school and me ready, and end up getting in the car, and I get the kids dropped off, and then honestly, when I was by myself again, I burst into tears. And I know all my stories have had crying so far, but I'm really not a crier. But anyway, and I cried for like 10 minutes. And the thing that was making me cry was, I thought how much I don't like the fact that I had to clean up a mess and I had to worry about him, like, and not in an angry way, but how sad that is, how sad it is that that has to affect him like that. And my heart just broke for him, and it kind of broke for me that this is our life. And it was kind of sad, which sounds depressing, and I don't mean to depress anybody, but because the nice thing was I let it out for 10-15 minutes, and then I got up and I wiped my face and I went on about my day. And you know what? I can say that now, and I can tell that story, and I can have all those memories, but I'm not bursting into tears about it anymore because I dealt with it. I was honest about it, and I grieved it, and I was honest with him about how I thought he was feeling, and I pointed it out, and we were able to get through it. And I think that's the thing, is you really cannot hide from your own emotions when you are living in just a little bit more of a stressful situation. It just doesn't help. So I hope that maybe y'all can figure out how to be honest with yourselves and how to go through that grieving process efficiently. I'm sure you can research it and figure it out. I myself am going to continue practicing it, and hopefully this helps you or someone else. Again, if you've got any questions, I would love to hear them. So please, contact us, make comments, like, share, subscribe. So anyway, thanks.